You know, every time a plane takes off, there's this invisible promise that's been made, a promise of safety. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the incredible journey of the people who make that promise possible, the licensed aircraft maintenance technicians. Their world is governed by a super strict set of European rules, from EASA, which is the European Union Aviation Safety Agency. And these rules, they're known as Part 66.
It's a question you've probably never really thought about when you're boarding a plane, right? But the answer is absolutely critical. And it's not just the pilot. Long before they even step into the cockpit, another highly skilled professional has already made that crucial call. So, what do we call these folks? The official term is certifying staff. Honestly, you should think of them as the ultimate gatekeepers of aviation safety. After any maintenance, big or small, they're the ones who perform the final inspection and sign the aircraft off, literally releasing it back into service. That signature isn't just a piece of paper. It's a personal guarantee of airworthiness.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The rules for these technicians, the Part 66 rules, they don't just exist on their own. They are deeply connected to Part 145, which is the regulation for the maintenance organizations themselves. It's a whole system designed for interlocking accountability. It makes sure that both the individual technician and the company they work for are meeting the absolute highest standards.
Okay, so how do you even get to be one of these pros? Well, the whole journey kicks off with a choice. A potential technician has to decide right at the beginning which part of the aircraft they want to become an expert in.
The two main paths you can go down are Category B1 and B2. A simple way to think about it is that B1 technicians are like the aircraft's primary care doctors. They work on the physical body, the airframe, the engines, all the mechanical systems. B2 technicians, on the other hand, they're more like the neurologists. They specialize in all the complex avionics, instruments, and electrical systems that basically act as the aircraft's brain and nervous system.
But here's the thing. No matter which path you pick, every single candidate has to build their career on two fundamental pillars. And these aren't just good ideas. They are the absolute core requirements that EASA mandates to ensure everyone is competent and, of course, safe.
And this lays it out perfectly. First, you have to prove you know your stuff. That means passing a whole series of really tough exams laid out in Section 66A-25. Then, and this is just as important, you have to prove you can actually apply all that knowledge in the real world. That means getting years of hands-on experience, which is covered in Section 66A-30.
So let's talk about that first pillar, knowledge. This is so much more than just learning how to turn a wrench. I mean, look at this. The exams cover a huge range of subjects, from advanced math and physics to the specific laws that govern aviation, and even the psychology of human factors in maintenance. The whole point is to create a technician who really understands the why behind every single task.
And now for that second pillar, experience. For someone coming in without any prior technical training, the requirement is a minimum of 5 years of practical, hands-on maintenance work, and not just on any plane, but on operating aircraft. We're talking planes that are actively flying people and cargo around the world. 5 years. That ensures they've seen almost everything before they're ever allowed to certify an aircraft on their own.
Now, there is a way to speed this up a little. If you go to a formal training school, one that's approved under Part 147, you can actually cut that experience requirement in half. This just goes to show how much EASA values that kind of structured, high-quality education. But even then, you're still looking at a huge commitment to hands-on work.
So, once a candidate has conquered both the exams and the massive experience requirements, they finally reach a huge milestone. They can apply for their aircraft maintenance license.
And like pretty much everything else in aviation, this is a very formal, very standardized process. The application has to be made on this specific document, EASA Form 19, and then you submit it to your national authority. You have to understand this single form is the culmination of years of hard work, detailing every exam you've passed and every single month of experience you've gained.
So what does this license actually let you do? It gives you the legal authority, the privilege as they call it, to certify that maintenance work meets every single standard. That could be routine stuff at the gate between flights, known as line maintenance, or it could be major work in a hangar, which is base maintenance. But most importantly, it lets you issue the Certificate of Release to Service. That signature is the final word. It's what officially declares an aircraft safe to fly.
But getting the license? That is not the end of the journey, not by a long shot. In the world of aviation safety, there really is no finish line. Keeping that license is a continuous, career-long commitment.
EASA pretty much has a use it or lose it policy.
To keep their license valid, a technician has to prove they've been actively working in the field for at least 6 months within any preceding 2-year period. This makes sure that their skills stay sharp, they stay current, and they stay relevant to all the new technology that's constantly changing in aviation.
And who's watching over this whole process, from the first application to making sure everyone stays current? That would be the competent authority. This is usually the civil aviation authority of a member country. Think of them as the ultimate guardians of the Part 66 standard. They have the power to issue, suspend, or even revoke a license to make sure everyone is playing by the rules.
So the next time you settle into your seat and you hear those engines start to spool up, just take a second. Remember the immense journey of knowledge, of experience, and the ongoing commitment that some professional went through just for the privilege of signing that aircraft off as safe for your flight.